Hey, I'm Rob with the Indiana Critter Catchers. We specialize in nuisance wildlife control. Basically, any wildlife that's in the state of Indiana we deal with, such as raccoons is the most popular, possums, groundhogs, any nuisance wildlife that gets on your property or in your house, we can remove. We also do repairs. We also do clean outs of feces and insulation that's been soiled. We've been in business for over 20 years and we are located in Fortville, Indiana. We are a member of NUCOA, which is the National Wildlife Operators Association, and we are approved by the DNR of Indiana. What we have here is a typical mole run. The mole runs like this are feed runs. These are the ones where they go around and they collect the food. And when you get to these piles right here, this is an old mound of a mole run right here. What they do is when they come run through here and dig all that dirt, they have to have somewhere to extract the dirt. And these little piles that you see, this is an old pile here, but normally that would be built up. It'd be about 6 inches high, and that is from the dirt that they have collected down through here and they have pushed out along the way. And then they'll start up over here, and this is another mole run right here that has just started, but it don't go very far. A lot of times they'll dig like this and then they'll go underground. It just depends on how deep the food source is. If the food source is up high, that's when you'll get these runs in here. This is another mound of where they have had collected dirt and they have pushed it out along the way. This right here is another mound. Also, they pushed this out, but they've also dug on top here. And the reason why they probably dug on top is because the food is closer to the surface. When it rains, it's just like all the insects and everything come up to the ground. Like when it rains, you'll notice night crawlers out on the road and stuff. That's exactly what they do in the yard. When they come up, the moles follow them up. And that's how you get your runs in your yard. Today, this is what we're going to use. This is poison worms, and we use this depending on the distance the client is away from the shop. Also, it is more convenient for the client than traps, and the reason is because when you put the traps in the ground, the client will have to mow over or around them and such. So this is more convenient. Only thing is, this takes just a shade longer than what it would if we would set a trap. But just more cost effective for us because this client here is about 45 minutes away from our shop. So we're going to use these today, and like I said, it works just as well as the traps, but it just takes a little bit longer. So what we do with these, we'll place these in the runs about every 5 foot in a run, and this resembles the food that a mole eats. Everybody thinks they just feed on grubs. That's not the case. These moles feed on any insect that's underneath the ground. Earthworms, red worms, any worm or insect that is underneath the ground, moles will feed on, not just grubs. So don't let that get in your head because that's not the case at all. So what we'll do, we'll go around, and what we do, we'll poke a hole in this run right here. And as you can't see with the camera, but that run is hollow. So he started up there and he's running down here. So we'll just take one of these worms, place in this hole right here, and then cover the hole back up. We'll go another 5 or 6 feet and we'll do it again. Another hole, and just take your finger, push down in there, it's no big deal. Cover it back up. And we'll just do this along the whole trail because this is an active trail. You can see is how it's raised up and how active it is. Once they eat the worms, it'll take about a week to 2 weeks for your yard to get back to its normal elevation. The surface will sink down where the mole run is now, and then in 2 or 3 weeks the grass will start growing back over it and you'll never know they're there. So if we were going to set traps, this is typically the trap we use. It's an out of sight trap, and the reason we use this, other than the effectiveness of it, is the speed of it. Moles just have to run through the run and hit this part, and I'll show you. I'm going to take these setters and I'm going to set it like this. And you set it like that, and then you put the pin down here. Now it's set. So if we was to set this trap in this yard right here, what we would do, we would find a straight path right here where they would be at. Say this is the spot we want to set a trap. We would dig this out on both sides, so just the width of the trap, so the trap will fit down in that hole, and then you stick it down in there until the legs are good and sturdy in the grass or in the dirt. That way, when the mole runs through it, he don't bump it and move. Used to, when we buy these traps, these things right here are not on it. What they want you to do is, without these, you would have to build what they call a dirt dam. And all that is a piece of dirt in the shape of this right here that they would run into the dirt. Well, the problem with that is when you get dirt down in there and nothing goes through it for a while, the dirt tends to dry up, and then when the mole hits it, it just crumbles instead of actually being able to push through it. On this, they push through it, and that does not go away. They just keep pushing on that, and then eventually they'll push hard enough and it'll trip that trap, and then it can get them from either side, that side or that side. The good thing about these traps is when they're in the ground, there's no jaws above the ground. All there is about this much of the trap sticking up, which is good for if you have kids or pets. The only problem is you have to mow around them, and that's why a lot of times we choose the poison also. So these are good if you do have children or pets around, that way. And also, once the mole's caught, you'll never see it. And when you do have a mole, this will be spread out about 2 inches at the top, and then you'll know you'll have a mole in it. So that's what we use when we do not set or put poison in the ground for the moles. Okay, we just finished placing our poison in these clients' yard. In about 2 weeks, the clients will start seeing results, and what they'll see is these runs start to disappear. They'll start to sink back down to the normal level. So this poison is going to get rid of the moles. But we also do other nuisance wildlife, and if you have any problems and you're located within 30 miles of Fortville, we would like for you to call us if you have any nuisance wildlife problems or any repairs that need to be done. We can do it. You can get in touch with us by phone, which our phone number is area code 317-855-8727, or you can find us on the web at IndianaCritterCatchers.com.